Well, the Legion will still be here when you change your mind. Rika believes in you, and I'm starting to see why. Consider this. What greater glory than to serve the Emperor and his citizens here in Skyrim, in these days of greatest need? Don't you Nords put any stock in your own traditions? I thought the Moot chose the king. We're backing Elisif. When the Moot meets, they'll do the sensible thing.
Not everyone's agreed to the Moot. You've been here long enough to know that Nords aren't always sensible. We follow our hearts.
So what? Ulfric gets this crown and then suddenly he's High King?
No, it's not as simple as that. But the Jagged Crown would be a potent symbol for his cause to rally around. But if we found it first...
And we gave it to Elisif.
In the absence of the Moot, it would further legitimize her claim.
Perhaps. I'm entrusting you with what resources I can spare. But I'm warning you, if this turns out to be a waste of time and men...
It won't be a waste.
Make sure you take the auxiliary here. You can send him back when you get there and find nothing but old bones and cobwebs.
The Stonefist's no fool. He's found the crown, but we'll get to it first.
Changed your mind? Decided you wanted to soldier for the Empire after all.
Wait, I know you.
Don't be so sure of that. We've intercepted couriers from Solitude. The Empire's putting a great deal of pressure on White. If he's not with us,
I remember you.
He's against us.
You were at Helgen with us. Come to join the war. Speak with Galmar. He handles the new recruits. I'm sorry to hear that. If you change your mind, speak with Galmar. What does bring you to me? We're fighting because we're done bleeding for an empire that won't bleed for us. Untold numbers of Nords died defending the empire against the Dominion. And for what? Skyrim being sold to the Thalmor so the emperor could keep his throne. We're fighting because our own Jarls, once strong, wise men, have become fearful and blind to the people's suffering. We're fighting because Skyrim needs heroes, and there's no one else but us. Not entirely true, though not entirely false either. Any Nord can learn the way of the voice by studying with the Greybeards, given enough ambition and dedication. My shouting Torg to the ground proved he had neither. However, it was my sword piercing his heart that killed him. I killed Torg to prove our wretched condition. How is the High King supposed to be the defender of Skyrim if he can't even defend himself? Indeed, Elisif has become Jarl of Solitude. Historically and conveniently home of the High King, backed by Imperial interests. But the Moot has not yet met to name her High Queen, and they won't. Not as long as I have any say in it. I challenged him in the traditional way, and he accepted. There were many witnesses. No murder was committed. True, he didn't stand a chance against me, but that was precisely the point. He was a puppet king of the Empire, not a high king of Skyrim. His father before him, perhaps, but not Torrik. He was too privileged and too foolish, more interested in entertaining his queen than ruling his country. There hasn't been a true High King in Skyrim for generations. For too long, he's been hand-picked by the Emperor and given emphatic nods by milk-drinking Jarls addicted to Imperial coin. It's time we had a real High King, one of our own making. My father, the Great Bear of Eastmarch, died during my imprisonment after the Markarth incident. I, his only son, forced to deliver his eulogy via letter I had smuggled out of prison. Such is the love of Titus meat for his subjects. When finally set free, I returned to Windhelm and was greeted by a city in mourning, at one with my own grief and anger, clamoring in angry voices, calling out for justice, for war. They sat me on the throne of Ysgramor, the throne of my father. I only hope I can prove worthy of that honor. Tullius must be getting nervous. Taking Helmarch, we're practically in his backyard now. As soon as we're able, we'll march on Solitude. Take care. He knows that. They all know that.
I feel so helpless out here. The people of Riften depended on me, and I failed them.
I'm afraid my days as the steward of Riften has come to an end.
Shoving a sword through his gullet.
You have something to say,
I hope the
dog?
wilds claim you
Something
one of
on
these
your
days.
mind?
Disgrace would make a more powerful statement, don't you?
So we're ready to start this war in earnest then.
Being in exile is the most humiliating thing I've experienced in my life.
Yes.
Torrik.
Need
Torrik
something?
was merely a message to the other Jarls. Whoever we replace them with will need the support of our armies.
We're ready when you are.
Things hinge on Whiterun. If we can take the city without bloodshed, all the better. But if not,
The people are behind you.
many, I fear, still need convincing.
Helgen, huh? Ulfric told us quite the story. If you made it through all that, you're likely worth something to me. But first, tell me, why does a lizard want to fight for Skyrim? You mistake me. I'm not saying no, just wondering about your intentions. We're not looking for sellswords. The Stormcloaks need dedicated men and women who are devoted to the cause and willing to die for it. Fair enough. But are you willing to die for your home? Then let them die with their false kings.
We've been soldiers a long time. We know the price of freedom. But people are still weighing things in their hearts.
What's left of Skyrim to wager?
They have families to think of.
How many of their sons and daughters follow your banner? We are their families.
Well put, friend. Tell me, Galmar, why do you fight for me?
I'd follow you into the depths of oblivion. You know that.
Yes, but why do you fight? If not for me, what then?
I'll die before elves dictate the fates of men. Are we not one in this?
I fight for the men I've held in my arms, dying on foreign soil. I fight for their wives and children whose names I heard whispered in their last breath. I fight for we few who did come home, only to find our country full of strangers wearing familiar faces. I fight for my people, impoverished to pay the debts of an empire too weak to rule them, yet brands them criminals for wanting to rule themselves. I fight so that all the fighting I've already done hasn't been for nothing. I fight because I must.
Your words give voice to what we all feel, Ulfric. And that's why you will be High King. But the day words are enough will be the day when soldiers like us are no longer needed.
I would gladly retire from the world, were such a day to dawn.
Aye, but in the meantime, we have a war to plan. Helgen, huh? Ulfric told us quite the story. If you made it through all that, you're likely worth something to me. But first, tell me, why does a lizard want to fight for Skyrim? Fair enough, but are you willing to die for your home? All right. But before I can put you to use, I need to know how much you can take. I have a little test for you. That's what I like to hear. So long as you can back up those words with steel. I'm sending you to Serpentstone Island. If you survive, you pass. If you die, well, you weren't going to be much use to me anyway. It's where men have tested their metal for ages. There's a strange rock formation built by the ancients. Something about that place attracts the ice wraiths. You kill an ice wraith out there, and I'll have all the proof I need about you. Only the ones I'm not sure about. This will prove your abilities, but more importantly, it will prove your commitment. When you kill that ice wraith, then we'll talk about you becoming a Stormcloak. Aye, but in the meantime, we have a war to plan.
Something you need, you miserable wretch.
Oh, been tending your hounds?
Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus! Yes, Send! Yes, Vanus!
Can't wait to count out your coins.
Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus!
It's so much easier to rob when you're dead.
Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus!
You start running so I can stab you in the back.
Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus! Yes, Vanus! Ace! 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 Yes! Vanus! Yes! Vanus! Yes! Vanus! One! Nakas! One! One! Nakas! One! 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 Eight! Yo! Yod! Sword! Yod! Sword! Yo!
Oh. Tending your hounds?
Tell me again why we're wasting time and dwindling resources chasing a legend. We don't even know it exists.
The Jarls are upset. They don't all... You're alive. I owe Ulfric a drink. I have to admit, I didn't think we'd be seeing you again. I misjudged you. You're definitely Stormcloak material. It's time we made this official. You ready to take the oath? Not at all. That was as much a test of your abilities as it was your resolve. I wasn't sure your heart was in it, but you've proven me wrong, and I respect that. Now, if we're done being sentimental, it's time for you to take the oath. You can stick a sword through an Imperial any day you want, but that doesn't make you a Stormcloak. We're not just fighting Imperials. We're fighting to restore Skyrim to her glory and give her the king she deserves. Before you're one of us, you must swear fealty to Jarl Ulfric Stormcloak, future High King of Skyrim. You must also pledge unswerving loyalty to your fellow Stormcloaks, to Skyrim, and to her people. Don't take
Damn
too
the
long
Jarls.
figuring it out. They demand the moot.
And damn the moot!
Wait.
Don't you Nords put any stock in your own traditions? I thought the Moot chose the king. We're backing Elisif. When the Moot meets, they'll do the sensible thing.
Not everyone's agreed to the moot. You've been here long enough to know that Nords aren't always sensible. We follow our hearts.
So what? Ulfric gets this crown and then suddenly he's High King?
No, it's
Changed
not
your
as
mind?
simple as that.
Decided you
Dragon
wanted to
Crown
soldier for the Empire after all.
Cause to rally around. But if we found it first...
Well then, repeat after me. Upon my honor, I do swear undying loyalty to the Emperor Titus Mede II. And unwavering obedience to the officers of his great empire. May those above judge me, and those below take me, if I fail in my duty. Long live the Emperor, long live the Empire. Welcome to the Imperial Legion, soldier. Just remember, we take care of our own. Once you're in the Legion, you're in it for life. Speak to Behrend. He's normally out by the forge. He'll get you outfitted. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Legate Ricka has a special assignment for you. And we gave it to Elisif.
In the absence of the moot, it would... Welcome to the Legion, Welcome to the Legion Auxiliary. Listen up. Ulfric's right-hand man, Galmar Stonefist, has located what he believes is the final resting place of the Jagged Crown. We're going to make sure he doesn't get his hands on it. The rest of my men are already assembling outside Corvinjune. I'll meet you there as soon as I finish up here. A legendary crown dating back to King Harald's time, or before. A powerful relic of a golden age, long since past. Legend has it that the crown is made from the bones and teeth of ancient dragons, and is said to increase the power of the wearer. Whatever the truth, if Ulfric gets his hands on it, it would be a powerful symbol around which to rally support for his cause. I am a loyal citizen of the Empire. My parents were legionnaires, and I've followed in their footsteps. But more importantly, I am a daughter of Skyrim, and wish to see her made whole again. I've been a daughter of Skyrim all my life. I love this land, and her people. So do all the Nords that serve the Empire. Ulfric, too, once. He wasn't always a self-serving egomaniac. He fought in the Imperial Army in the war against the Dominion. But Ulfric and his Stormcloaks are deluding themselves. If there's any hope of a long-term victory against the